This is the Ready Set Podcast, and here's your host, me, Joe Persinger. Hey, how was your week, you fucks? All right, Klaus, cut the music. Klaus, where the fuck are you? Thank you, sir. Got a lot going on this weekend, so we're going to knock this pod out nice and quick today. That's right. You know it. We've got your weekly fix of space rocks. We've got an update on the campaign trail mix, and the juice is loose, of course. The California woman attempts to run to Mexico. Bill Clinton is the no-fun police, and Carli Lloyd thinks she can kick in the NFL. Excuse me while I silently laughed real quick. This is your one-stop shop current events and politics podcast. If society's a joke, then we're just here for the first set. Are you ready? Set podcast! All right, so here we go. On September 14th at 7:54 p.m. Eastern Time, 2000 QW7 will be passing through our neck of the woods at between 951 feet and 2,132 feet. That's quite the discrepancy there. Traveling at 14,361 miles an hour. Yeah, I got to go back to this. Which one is it? I mean, I really do feel the information needs to be honed in. 951 feet versus 2,132 feet. I mean, we're literally talking about a building that's just short of the Sears Tower versus something that's taller than that really, really tall building in Dubai. I don't fucking remember what the name of it is. This is quite the discrepancy. And I feel like an equivalent here. I mean, that's like if I tell Ken I'm going to slap him across the face open-handed, of course, and then end up going with a two-hit combo backflip that ends with me sweeping the leg and choking him out in my signature tri-strangle chokehold. I mean, either one can happen, but at least he's going to know which one it is. Of course, that one's going to be about 3.3 million miles from the center of the Earth. The next one, I believe, passed by a few days ago on August 27th at 10:46 Eastern. I didn't write down if that's AM or PM. I apologize. Its name is 2019 QR, 112 feet at 16,000, traveling at 16,105 miles an hour at a distance of 2.8 million miles. Nothing special there. I imagine usually what I've been reading is a lot of those smaller asteroids that are between 150 feet, I'm kind of making that up off the top of my head, tend to explode in the atmosphere before they hit the ground. I don't know why. I am not a geologist or a space rock scientist, whatever that would be called. Either way, moving on here. On the next day, August 28th at 11:36 a.m., 2019 OU1, which is 249 feet to 557 feet. Which one is it? Now I'm getting a little frustrated here. I really think this Ken metaphor works again. I mean, do I sweep the leg but then kick him in the chuck? What's that, Klaus? Oh, yeah. For those of you that don't know, the chuck is the space where the cheek and the lips and the nose triangulate on either side of the face. Or is it, it's just so you know, so we're aware of what the chuck is. I mean, do I sweep the leg, kick him in the chuck? Or is this more of a, do I choke him out with a leg lock or use the neck twister? I mean, these are things that need to be decided. We just can't leave it in the open. And surprisingly, this one passed us by at 639,535 miles. Keep it in the wheelhouse, Greg. Keeping it in the wheelhouse. Next one passing through isn't going to be, well, okay, actually, this is an interesting one. It's a little bit in the future. Just going to warn you. So March 2nd, 2032, its name is 29075-1950DA. It is 6,562 feet, wow, traveling at 40,000 miles an hour. That would create a 17-mile diameter crater if it collided with Earth. And fortunately, it's about 7 million miles from the center of the Earth. Now, I've stated before, we've got space rocks orbiting our massive star almost the same way our planet has space junk orbiting around it. The difference is there's a lot more space in space. So it's not as bad as it sounds. But I'm always curious, why do we have these flying rocks around but they're never really hitting us. Are we lucky? Or is there a bigger force out there protecting us from these dangerous space floaters? Floaters. Well, it turns out the latter might be true. Not the joke, just the latter. The space floaters part. And what's this bigger force? No, it's not divine intervention, you Chick-fil-A eating fuck. It's Jupiter. Jupiter's massive gravity might be acting like that offensive lineman on a 48 power right sweep that's preventing these space rocks from entering an orbit that could intersect our planet. Now, there's no way to really know if there's any validity to this, but either way, we're really fucking lucky. That we have this failed sun in our solar system. It's too bad we can't buy it a watch or a car to thank it for its protective services. But I bet Jupiter would be a Cartier guy. That's just my guess. But then this same asteroid might slip through Jupiter's tight blocking scheme. And that's going to take us to March 16th, 2880. That's a little bit of a ways away. Same asteroid, 29075-1950 DA, still will be traveling at 40,000 miles per hour and still at 6,562 feet. But how many miles from the Earth's center, you ask? 0. It's a direct hit. So if Trump is still in office, I guess you lefty fucks will finally get your wish. You're just going to have to wait another 860 years. That's not too bad. We're moving on here. So the OJ update this week, or the juice is loose, as I like to say. Juice actually posted something to Twitter a few hours ago, but he's just really going on about how running backs in the NFL, and just seems to be annoyed with how running backs are basically devalued in the league now. There's no need to play the sound, Klaus, but since I actually got a few extra seconds in this segment, I'm going to quickly add an update for the campaign trail mix. Bubbles, a.k.a. Kirsten Gillibrand, is out. She announced that she's suspending her campaign or she's dropping out, whichever. Someone's going to primary her in the state of New York, so I assume that's probably what she wants to focus her $40 million war chest on. And honestly, that's all I'm going to say about this New York, D.C. swap creature opportunist. We're plowing ahead. So did anyone else feel a little ripped off at the end of Breaking Bad? I think when it ended in 2011? Is that about right? Let me give myself a little more volume here. Yeah, volume's nice. Where was I here? Oh, yeah. So did you feel ripped off at the end of Breaking Bad? I mean, we got closure on the Walter White character. We saw how White's family had started to move on without him. But one thing that had escalated, it really escaped closure, I think is what I'm trying to say here. It was the Jesse Pinkman character, bitch. Well, good news. We're finally going to get another Vince Gilligan-inspired Breaking Bad movie called El Camino. Oh, by the way, there's a spoiler alert there, so hope I didn't ruin that for you. Whoops. Which is also the first project from a renewed deal Gilligan has now with Sony Pictures TV. Do we have the sound for that trailer, Klaus? We do. Okay, let's go ahead and play it.
I don't know what to tell you. I ain't said like 500 times already. I have no idea where he is. Don't know where he's headed either. North, south, west, east, Mexico, the moon. I don't have a clue. But yo, even if I did, I wouldn't tell you. Because I've been watching the news, same as everybody else. I seen that little cage of his they kept him in. I heard about what all they did to him to make sure he kept cooking. So sorry. I don't know what to tell you. No way I'm helping you people put Jesse Pinkman back inside a cage.
El Camino, a Breaking Bad movie. Well, that looks pretty cool. Very exciting, and I can't wait. All right, so let me guess. At one point in your life, you've contemplated what it would be like to commit a crime, and instead of sticking around, you're going to flee to Mexico. But if you're white, you're going to stick out like I do at a Star Wars convention. And then when the USA starts asking questions about suspicious gringos, you'll be deported. But if you're a Mexican, it's a walk in the park or the desert. Well, as long as your extended family can keep their mouth shut, maybe you can escape. And what's this lady's name? Marita Joana Lara of Los Angeles, California, has found out that little detail the hard way. On June 16th, she ran a red light in a white Lexus and broadsided a Nissan Murano driven by a 48-year-old father of two. There's a video on Twisted posted by the @LAPDHQ Twitter handle, which I think I will retweet and put it on the Ready Set Podcast Twitter page. And it shows her Lexus slamming into the Nissan, and then you can see the driver waddle down the street like nothing happened. Usually when a driver flees the scene of any kind of accident, or I've seen some situations where drivers pull over and run, either they're felonies or they're drunk. It's usually one of the two, or they're just dumb. So maybe one of the three, but generally they're usually just drunk. So a few notes here, which I'm guessing is probably what led her family to rat her out. Her Lexus, which had five people. I mean, that's beaner packed. Let's be honest here. And one of the passengers was the driver's sister. And I think I also read that one of the people in that car was pregnant too. There's some great decision making on this lady's end. And she has kids and she's going out drinking. Great decision making. So let's think about this. She drives recklessly, broadsides an innocent victim and kills him, puts all of her passengers, including her sister, in harm's way and a pregnant woman, and flees the scene without administering any aid to victims on the scene, let alone calling 911. She gets home. Let's be honest, she probably didn't walk home, at least the whole way. Gets her kids, of course. This 27-year-old has kids, like I said earlier, and gets to a Greyhound station and flees to Mexico immediately. So after conducting a raid on the house, because obviously it's not hard to figure out who she was, you have her license plate, you have her walking down the street, the police believe the suspect was at her home. And when they raid the house, they end up finding the sister there, who was then taken into custody. So only one can guess where the police were able to cobble the rest of the story together and find the Greyhound station she went to, and eventually the address in Mexico, which the suspect had fled to. I believe it was her grandma's house they said they found her at. So if you're going to go to Mexico, if you're going to flee to Mexico, don't tell anyone where you're going, or don't be a poor white person. And if you want to avoid the inconvenience of your county, state, and federal government seeking you out, I got a really quick solution for that. Don't break the law. Now, speaking of not breaking the law, let's say a friend of yours approaches you and tells you he has a great idea. He goes on to explain his business plan, which for some reason has been sketched out on a dirty pizza box with little notes on a cocktail napkin, which consists of a plan that will compete with Netflix, Hulu, and possibly Disney Plus when Disney Plus rolls out. I know. It can't be done. Or can it? Well, a federal grand jury returned an indictment that charged 8 people with conspiring to violate federal criminal copyright laws by allegedly running one of the largest unauthorized streaming services in the United States. I know, it can't be done. Or can it? Christopher Lee Dahlman, 36, had the book thrown at him. He's been charged with 2 counts of criminal copyright infringement, 2 counts of criminal copyright by public performance, and 4 counts of money laundering. I know. It's probably some website he threw together with a few of his buddies and it spun out of control, but it really wasn't anything. Probably just something that was content that was being traded amongst his friends' friends, and their friends. Or was it? Jetflix, which claimed to have 183,200 different television programs and distributed them to tens of thousands of people. I mean, even if those people are paying $10 a month, I mean, maybe $5 a month, and we're talking what, tens of thousands. I mean, that's $50,000 a month. No wonder he got nailed for money laundering. He didn't know what to do with all that cash. Would you? I'm guessing no. Then there's Daryl Julius Polo, aka DJ Pimp, also 36, and also a black guy based on those names, was also charged with 2 counts of criminal copyright infringement, by distributing copyrighted work being prepared for commercial distribution. That's a weird one. 2 counts of copyright infringement and 4 counts of money laundering. Now, just for a side note here, I didn't bother to name the other 6 people. I think they've all just been nailed with that 2 counts of copyright infringement. These 2, though, because I believe we're leading these 2 companies, got the book thrown at them. So this guy must have been Dahlman's, DJ Pimp. Must have been Dahlman's right-hand man, right? I mean, or he just refused to squeal, right? Well, you'd be wrong. DJ Pimp actually decided to spin off and create a competing site called ISIA, I Stream It All, and at one point claimed to have 115,000 different TV episodes and 10,511 individual movies. There was no information on how many people he had, but I guessing because he got nailed 4 counts of money laundering and has way more content, I'm guessing he probably had more subscribers. Anyway, so here's another lesson. If you want to get into the stream game, you're going to need some deep pockets. And if you decide to do it on the felonious level, just take the casino approach. Get in, get out, and don't be greedy. Pretty easy stuff here, folks. So here's a great example of why I cannot deal with CNN, but mostly the digital press. So here we go. We got a couple facing murder charges, overpowered 2 guards, and escaped. I mean, if you read that, you'd probably want to click on it and read it too. And then the quick synopsis here. A husband and wife who are accused of killing a 72-year-old man in Tucson overpowered 2 security officers and escaped Monday night in Blanding, Utah, police said. So the headline sucks because you think overpowered 2 guards. How'd they do that? Then you click on this clickbait digital article and it casually mentions they overpowered 2 people, but then goes into the crime they had committed in Arizona or Tucson before fleeing to New York. Yeah, I mean, the background is great and all, but I want to know the details on how these 2 fucks overpowered 2 guards, or more importantly, why are security guards transporting these fucks? It wasn't like the headline says, couple facing murder charges, overpowering 2 guards. These guards weren't even like police guards. They were security guards. And again, you got to give me more than just security guards. Like, you're creating more questions through a story that you're supposed to be answering questions. I mean, shouldn't the police, departments of corrections, or federal marshals be doing this when you're transporting felons across state lines? The article answers no questions, let alone the headline, and only creates more questions that I would like to be answered. CNN and the digital media, folks, they're like they're modern-day fake news pirates. I don't know if that makes any sense, but it does sound like a dig. All right, we're moving on here. What do we got here? Oh, Klaus, let's bring back a segment we haven't done on the podcast since the spring. Play it! What time is it?
It's time to weigh in.
So female soccer player Carli Lloyd is claiming there's some interesting chatter about women in the NFL and that she has definitely gotten some inquiries from NFL teams after a video of her nailing a 55-yard field goal with about 10 steps, might I add. I'll get to that in a second, which went viral earlier this week in a joint practice between the Eagles and the Ravens. First off, I'm calling BS on this whole story. Is a team or maybe teams interested? Perhaps. But are they offering her a contract? A chance to be on the practice squad? No is the answer to both. But leave it to her trainer to propagate this narrative. It's not a lie if you believe it, George Costanza once said. But don't tell her trainer James Galanis that. He said, quote, I think Carli is perfect. I'm assuming this is a dude. I think Carli is perfectly made out for a job like that. She loves the pressure, unquote. Okay, first off, she's not perfectly made to play in the NFL or for a job like that, really. I mean, I'm not built to play in the NFL technically, but to be a kicker in the NFL is what I mean. She's not perfectly made for that. She's 5'8", maybe 140 pounds, in a league with men who average at least 240 pounds and are all, on average, over 6 feet. And I imagine anyone kicking in the NFL would live for that pressure, especially if you're a woman in a man's league. That's unbelievable. She's made for it. Give me a break. She would get destroyed. And I haven't even gotten into the whole fact that she needs 7 to 10 steps to kick a fucking field goal 55 yards. But anyway, the trainer continues. She's got one of the hardest kicks in the world when it comes to women. She is great at long-range balls. Whoa, whoa, whoa. I don't need to know about her personal life here.
And that's Ready Set Podcast on Twitter in care of Joe Persinger at 420 Chicago Avenue.
And Serena Williams has one of the hardest serves in the women's tennis division. But that's nothing compared to what Nadal, Federer, or the Djokovic guy can serve up. So this whole, she has one of the hardest kicks in the world when it comes to women. I'm sure she does. And that's not even broaching the subject about how other nations don't put in nearly the same amount of money into women's soccer as other nations don't, I should say. So, no, there's no teams seriously inquiring about a woman kicker who would need almost 10 steps to kick a ball 55 yards. And for those that don't know, that's not going to get her that's going to get her run over by some 240-pound maniac, and that's not counting what happens if the kick is blocked or possibly run back when it comes up short from the field goal post. You don't think one of those guys out there wants to, get a highlight reel? I mean, these guys like to beat women in their off time. If they could do it legally, what's going to stop them? Anyway, moving on. So it's late in the night at a chic East Hampton hotel. You and your squad up! Arrive and walk into a room where the DJ is blaring music. People are dancing. The bar is flowing like fake news at CNN on a Sunday afternoon. But then for some reason, you see Bill Clinton walk up to the DJ and ask her to turn down the music. At least that's what you find out. Initially, you thought he was asking her something else. The DJ refuses. The waitstaff pleads with the DJ to turn the music down. And the DJ isn't having it. Nope, this isn't something I made up. This happened. Apparently, the 42nd president was deep in conversation at his table as the late-night festivities began. The hotel is celebrating its 10th anniversary with events including late-night vibes starting at 10 p.m. on Fridays and Saturdays. Apparently, Clinton didn't know about this, asked them to kind of turn the music down because he's an old fart, and was told no, basically. But I guess the DJ won him over because she started playing that Fleetwood Mac song, Don't Stop. So I guess it had somewhat of a happy ending. Hey, Bill, just go home. You got plenty of space. You don't need to sit in a hotel and talk all night. All right, well, I had a few more stories I wanted to get to. I wanted to read Chapter 1 of Landing in Lazarus, but I've got a flight tomorrow, and I have yet to pack. So the staff report will be taking a week off. Are you fist pumping back there, Klaus? I'll talk to you in a minute. We'll pick this up next week. I get back from a week from today, so I'm hoping to get I believe it'd be episode 23 up by that Monday. I'm going to post this one tonight. But we'll see. I got a busy week, and yeah, I don't really no one really gives a shit. Plus, a lot of you listening to this are going to see me, so it doesn't really matter. A lot of you, it's like one person. Anyway, so that's going to do it for us this week. Thanks for listening to Ready Set Podcast. Check us out on Apple Podcasts, Mixcloud, YouTube, or Spreaker. And don't forget to give us a like on our Ready Set Podcast Facebook page. I almost got through that without screwing it up. This is your one-stop shop current events and politics podcast. If society's a joke, then we're just here for the first set. Thanks for listening. Please share the podcast if you'd like to support us, and we'll see you next week, you fucks.
Thanks for listening to the Ready Set Podcast. Check us out next week, and don't forget to follow us on Twitter and look for us on our YouTube channel, Ready Set Podcast.